Many Americans here in Israel watched the third presidential debate that focused on foreign policy issues. That's because more than 150,000 Americans here are eligible to cast absentee ballots, and many come from swing states. Republican challenger Mitt Romney is extremely popular here, but many say they were left disappointed after his performance. Some expected a more hard-hitting Romney to show up and sharply criticize the president on his policies towards Israel, the Middle East, and Iran. But instead, Romney was perceived here as more hesitant and ineffective, while President Obama successfully defended his record and his close ties to Israel. Perhaps knowing he would be put on the defense, President Obama went on the offense first.
Obama introduced Israel, I think, a couple of times in questions where it was certainly not necessary, where he made he got his Israel support in early before anyone was challenging his Israel support. He had already, stressed his solidarity with Israel. There was obviously a recognition on the part of both candidates that part of the electorate in some of the key swing states, needs to be wooed, and he needed to say, yes, I'm a good friend of Israel. I thought that was interesting.
Both candidates are vying for Jewish voters in swing states like Ohio and Florida, where they may make the critical difference in what is now the tightest race for the White House in decades. Romney took the first swipes at Obama, criticizing the president for sidelining Israel and failing to visit Jerusalem back in 2009 during a trip to the Middle East, where he delivered a historic speech in Cairo. Calling the visit a, quote, apology tour, Romney said it sent a message of American weakness to Middle East leaders, especially in Iran. He also reprimanded Obama for not visiting Israel after taking office. But Romney's critique mostly fell flat. Obama shot back that when he visited Israel as a presidential candidate, he did not take donors or attend fundraising events. That's exactly what Romney did on his summer visit to Israel. Obama reminded Jewish voters that he visited Yad Vashem, Israel's Holocaust Museum, and Sderot, the town often hit with rocket fire from terrorists in Gaza.
So it was a good answer within the context of a debate for the people who are not obsessed by Israel. People who, who live in this country, I think many of us carry that dismay that Obama went on that very early trip and subsequently as president, didn't call in on Israel.
Obama won the point, even if Romney had raised a valid issue. On the nuclear standoff with Iran, Romney showed a stronger hand.
You did see slightly different positions in that Obama is saying, I won't let Iran get to the bomb, and Romney was saying, we need to stop Iran before it becomes a nuclear-capable state. In other words, earlier in the process. The question is, having heard that, which I think is significant, the next question you have to ask is, well, is either of them likely to do something about it, and what kind of things are either of them likely to do about it? And I thought what was striking was Romney's repeated insistence on, we don't want wars, we want to avoid wars.
Romney, intent on showing he was not the warmonger portrayed in Obama attack ads, rejected the prospect of engaging in military operations abroad. He offered himself up as a tougher negotiator with Iran. For some Israelis who believe the U.S. should lead an Israeli attack on Iran, Romney seemed just as unlikely to do that as Obama. Both candidates said they would support Israel in an event it was attacked by Iran. Not surprisingly, neither one wanted to say what they would do if Israel attacked Iran first. President Obama had the advantage in pointing to his record of military and intelligence cooperation with Israel. Just this week, the two armies kicked off a large-scale drill in Israel to test their joint anti-ballistic missile defense systems. Romney criticized Obama's ineffectual policy in the wider Middle East following the Arab Spring and implied it had eroded America's prestige and power in the region. He added that Obama had still failed to lay out a Middle East policy plan for the next 4 years. In Israel, President Obama's leadership in the region has gotten mixed reviews.
I happen to think that this region, the sense of where the publics are heading in many parts of this region continues to be astoundingly hostile, not just to Israel, but to the West and to America. And I'm not sure how much Obama's efforts to try to chart a different foreign policy course, and a course that is less avowedly aggressive or ready to resort to force. I'm not sure how effective his approach has been. I'm not sure how effective a different approach would have been.
Most U.S. polls show Americans believe President Obama won the last and final debate. But the two candidates are neck and neck in national polls, and the gap is closing in the swing states. Only time will tell if issues surrounding Israel and Iran will prove decisive for Jewish voters, and in turn, decisive for the results of the election on November 6th. Jordana Miller, JN1, Jerusalem.